Hello, this is Earl Mark.
Within these unparalleled times, a humanitarian surge in forcibly displaced people underscores the urgent call for humanitarian design and planning in order to ensure safe havens for all. This seminar explores this vulnerable realm, where students propose innovative solutions for a globally evolving landscape. Together, we seek to craft a better future for people driven from their homes.
Rapid Shelter Displaced People is an interdisciplinary seminar. This panoramic photograph is of the Zaatari refugee community in Jordan about 2 months after it was established by the United Nations. Course details are posted on the web at the address shown here.
Here are Syrian refugees traveling from Budapest to Vienna in the fall of 2015.
There were clusters of people walking, often consisting of multiple generations of a single family. It was a disheartening sight. The rate of displacement continues to increase year after year. Forcibly displaced Syrians made up a significant part of refugees over the past decade, but not all of them traveled to Western Europe. Here we see the Zaatari refugee community in Jordan in the first few months, looking towards winter. We see the refugee camp during its first phase of growth. Structures need to be reinforced and ground conditions are somewhat primitive. In Western Burma, at about the same time, ground conditions seem less even and resources less evenly distributed. Here in the aftermath of a typhoon, Philippine survivors put up a makeshift roof. Speed and improvisation can be life-saving. The rate of growth of a refugee settlement can be staggering. The refugee camp in Jordan grew from 2,500 shelters to over 25,000 shelters in less than 8 months. The seminar puts an emphasis on spatial, physical, and environmental conditions, but is not limited to any one particular disciplinary perspective. For example, this case study was focused on a refugee camp in a borderline area of Thailand. It's in a remote area with a number of bamboo bridge crossings, as you see here marked in yellow. 2 students worked together on making modest changes to a bamboo construction system. They explored new spatial changes for residential and non-residential structures. Here, for example, they explored a diagonal bracing system enhanced by a wood gusset plate developed according to traditional fabrication methods. Above, Matthew Snyder replaces single-family HUD housing with wind and solar appropriate extended family housing. Below, in the place of a FEMA trailer, Will Merrill explored a modular porch vernacular phased-in housing system. Above, Aaron Whetstone designed and situated an ergonomically developed medical testing lab network. Below, Jewel Voss developed a network of child development and care facilities with distinct solutions for 3 of Cox's Bazar refugee camps. The wide range of viewpoints that guest speakers bring to the seminar bring an international perspective to the case studies that students undertake.
Within the same location, adjacent refugee camps can be based on widely different approaches. On Lesbos Island, Greece, a surge in arrivals of forcibly displaced people led to overcrowding and difficult living conditions. Wintertime was especially destabilizing. The evidence from photos shows how these structures were prone to failure due to snow load. More recently, security issues took precedence and resulted in more restrictive conditions in state-sponsored camps. Perimeters are secure within razor wire. Resident excursions away from the camp are subject to a curfew. There is very little green space in proximity to the housing units. During the summer heat wave of 2023, it was especially uncomfortable. Here, most of the shelters are in rows with outdoor space primarily devoted to pedestrian circulation. Karatepe 2, shown here, is a very short distance down the road from the original Karatepe refugee camp that was more open and integrated with green space. This is especially true at Karatepe on Lesvos Island, which in its early years was celebrated as a best practice model. It is reminiscent of some of the utopian FSA camps during the Dust Bowl period of the 1930s, conceived of by visionary landscape architect Garrett Ekbo, and the subject of a guest lecture by Professor Reuben Rainey. Here is a welcoming hybrid wood and fabric community structure at Karatepe that is adjacent to a children's outdoor play area. Even this isobox unit has, it seems, been modified with innovative roof ventilation. This garden was developed to provide for culturally relevant foods. The clasping hand sculpture at the original Karatepe seems symbolically like the hands-on activities now flourishing across the road at Perea Center. Today we see the reemergence of innovative thinking with respect to broadening the direction of refugee camps to accommodate greater opportunities for learning, agency, healthcare, and provisioning of green spaces and efforts at alleviating food insecurity. This social club sits under a hybrid fabric and hand-built steel truss roof structure. It was erected to provide one of several welcoming social and cultural venues. These structures are built by staff and forcibly displaced people with the direct hands-on help of local community members. The garden and ceramic house give evidence to the dual cultural and practical nature of the projects undertaken at the center. Here, a library van paint job takes yet another opportunity to celebrate multicultural acceptance and learning.
During the Dust Bowl of the 1930s, forcibly displaced people improvised with found structures in order to shelter themselves. Each year, current events change our perspective on what's important to prioritize. In some ways, this time is similar to the 1930s Depression and the Dust Bowl. It forged a new national consciousness with respect to meeting the needs of internally displaced people in the United States. I'm excited to learn what students' experiences of the last 2 years will bring to the seminar.